Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Power in Partnerships webinar series. Today, we're talking about event integration with Aspen Discovery. My name is Jordan Fields. I'm the head of Aspen. I'm also joined by my colleagues, Bill and Kelly, who will be with me in the chat answering questions. And as the title suggests, today we'll be talking about event integration with Aspen Discovery. Now, Aspen doesn't have its own event platform. What we do is integrate with different event platforms that you can get from other vendors. And we'll be talking about what that looks like today and who those vendors are. So let's get right to it. Now, we start off almost all of our Aspen webinars with the Aspen Discovery goals, and then how the topic for today aligns with those goals. So the goal number one is about creating a unified experience through integration with different library technologies, all library technologies. And that's really what events are. It's something else that the library does that maybe you don't traditionally see in the library catalog. Now, we really emphasize all here because we try to integrate with different vendors. What we want for you all is the choice. We don't want vendor lock-in. We want you to be able to choose the event platform that works the best for you. And then as long as that platform has APIs, we can do that deep integration. Goal number two is to maximize user engagement with the library. Now, the first part of that is making sure that users know that what events the library has. And we really want to integrate this into the catalog so it doesn't require the user to think, oh, I wonder what the library's events are. Let me find their calendar on their website. They're going to find events that are relevant to them as they're already searching the catalog. Goal number three is to connect every user with a personalized and accessible library home base. Now, what you can do in Aspen is you can save these events. You can click out to register for these events. You can come back later and see the events that you've saved, making Aspen that one place that all the library things, the goal is to have all of those library things that are specific and personal to the patron be accessible from Aspen, so that one place. Last is to empower library administrators to customize and expand Aspen, including events within Aspen is definitely a part of that expansion. So why might you want to add events to your library catalog? The first reason is that keyword-specific promotion in context. So as you'll see today, if you have an author coming to your library, you fans of that author are going to be searching your library catalog for books by that author, of course. But if the author is coming, you'll also have that opportunity to then expose that event to the person searching. Patrons can also track and manage events, gives them, again, one fewer places. And a lot of event platforms don't even have a place for that. It's just you register and then it's in your email. But now patrons can even save events that maybe they're not interested in. They're not sure if they want to attend, just something that interests them. Just like many things in Aspen, events can be added to lists, saved searches. They can be used in browse categories, collection spotlights that can even be embedded on your website. So there's a full marketing suite of things that go along with that event integration. And finally, events appear seamlessly everywhere in the catalog, depending on the context of the patron. We don't just shuffle events in with everything else. We very intentionally, you're looking at your book results and, oh, here's Explore More. Here's where you can get your events. Here's where you can get other things from the library catalog. So these are the 4 event platforms that we currently integrate with. The first is Library Calendar from Library Market. That was the first integration that we did. Later, we did LibCal from SpringShare, followed by Attend from Communico. And then finally, just in the last few months, we added Event Calendar from Aspen Interactive. All of these have that deep integration where you can get the search results and you can save events. That's all a part of each of these integrations. Now, I think the easiest way to kind of look at how events work within Aspen is through the patron's eyes. So I'm going to introduce you to 3 patrons, and then we're going to look at event integrations in 3 different catalogs so that you can see how this specific patron might approach, might get what they're looking for out of Aspen through the event integration. So the first patron I'm going to introduce you to is Candace. Candace is a mom of 24-month-old Anthony. She has just moved to a new community to Cambridge, Minnesota. She's used to using the library. She's used the library her whole life. And what she's really looking for is, of course, some resources for Anthony, but another way to meet other people within the community, both but other moms, there's maybe some events, and also just some things for herself. The next patron is Remy. Remy really enjoyed the Bridgerton series on Netflix, and she's just finished reading the series on Hoopla. She's really curious to know if there are more books in the series, or not in the series, excuse me, more books by Julia Quinn. And we're going to see if Remy finds what she needs today. The last person is Anthony. Anthony is the marketing manager for the main library in Anytown, USA. Now Julia Quinn is coming to the main library, and he is responsible for all of the marketing and the community outreach for this event. So it is his job to make sure that the people that are interested in this know about it, show up, and he knows that there's a lot of interest in the community, but it's really just about how to use Aspen to get the word out. Okay, so I am going to get out of that slide deck, and we will start with Candace. Okay, now remember, Candace was the one that just moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts with her toddler. So I'm going to come to the library. She's used to coming to the library for story time. We know that in a lot of cases, when you're searching the library catalog, you might think that you're searching everything from the library. But maybe only you're searching books. Not with Aspen. With Aspen, you're really searching everything. So I can go ahead and put in story time. And even though that's an event, we're going to get everything related to story time. Now, the first thing you see right here is a placard. This is another kind of marketing piece that ECRL, East Central Regional Library, put in here. And I really love this because if you are looking for story time, this is bright, it is colorful, it catches your eye, and you could immediately go to that. This actually isn't part of the event integration. This is one of those marketing pieces that they just do a really great job with. So not every catalog are you going to see this. This is a marketing piece you can set up, but it is offered as a placard within Aspen. After then, we have our first two search results. Again, you're always going to default to searching the library catalog and searching books. That's what patrons expect. That's what they think is happening. But what we want to do is make it clear that there are other things within the library, other things that are relevant to your search. That's where this Explore More bar really comes in. So this is where we will show you events. So we have all of the events, 118 events related to story time right here, as well as two specific upcoming events that are just happening tomorrow. And one more, this is not an event. This is actually a list of Storytime to Go kits. So maybe we'll explore that in a little bit. That might be good for Candace as well. But for now, since we're doing a webinar on events integration, I'm going to take you into this events right here. Open it in a new tab for you. Okay, so once I click on that, I see all of the events for the library. And what I notice is this first one is at the Atkin Public Library. Okay, I moved to Cambridge. That's not necessarily my library. I am going to go ahead and look for my branch and limit it to the Cambridge Public Library. Okay, so here we have everything for the Cambridge Public Library, and I'm going to be looking for some things for my toddler. He's 2 years old. This one says, might be a little small for you all at home, but it says it's for children ages 5 to 8 and their siblings. Well, it's not really going to work for me because I have a 2-year-old. So I'm going to go over here and I see their age group audiences, and I can limit this to toddlers. All right, now what I see is basically perfect for me. Wednesday of this week, I can go to Storytime Around Town at the Green Barn Garden Center. Wonderful. I can go ahead and add to my events by clicking this here. It tells me that that was added to my event successfully. I might scroll down a little bit more, see if anything else looks good. The patio, maybe that's 2 weeks later. Yeah, let's go ahead and add this one too. So we'll go ahead and add that. All right, now I see there's quite a gap here between July 31st and July 14th. You know, if I'm looking for things to keep Anthony busy during that time, that's a bit long without having a story time. So I might click into this Story Time to Go kit. to see what I can do with Anthony in the meantime. This isn't a part of the events integration. I could place a hold on the story time to go kit bedtime. What this is it's providing everything in context. It's easy to go from books to events to lists. This is actually a list of things that are relevant to the topic I'm searching. So even though over here, I'm in an event search, because I searched story time, I could find this story time to go kit, this list. I could also go back to the catalog results. So that's the power of having everything integrated. Even though I'm searching events, I'm still finding things related to my search down here, just in case I didn't know they were there. Okay, so for Candace, maybe she also wants to see if there's anything for her. So I am searching events. So I am super into crafting if I'm Candace. So I'm going to go ahead and put crafts in here. Search for crafts. Okay, family story time. Yep, we do a lot of crafts at family story time, but just like before, this one is for me. It's not for the family. So I'm going to go into the age group and click adults this time. Okay, this first one is Craft and Chat. The Mora Public Library is near me. That's close enough. This one is Tuesday. That sounds like a great way to meet new people. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one to my events. And scroll down a little bit more, see if anything else catches my eye. Oh, Adult Craft, Beginner Crochet. I'm going to go ahead and add that one to my events. And I came over here to see it. I'd actually added that one to my events already. So what you see once you've added something to your events in the catalog is a list of all of the events that you've saved. So here is the Craft and Chat, the adult craft that I actually saved earlier, and then the 2 story times. Now, if your event platform offers registration, we will have this check registration link right here. And you can click on that and it will bring you right out to the event in the event platform. Aspen does offer some integration with registration, but what we discovered is that most people, when they register for a library event, don't require the library card number. So because we don't require the library card number, there's no way to actually tie that registration together. So most of our libraries right now, they leave registration separate. But they have this check registration button, or if you're in the catalog, you can, let me see if I can get back to that. You can check registration from here, or it will say go to see registration. All right, so that gets Candace a whole bunch of stuff just from a few minutes of searching the library. So let's go ahead and move on to Remy. Now, Remy is a member of the Cuyahoga County Public Library. And let's go. Got a little bit ahead of myself there. Let's go ahead and look at this homepage. She comes here and she's looking for other books by Julia Quinn, the author of the Bridgerton series. So I'm going to search for Julia Quinn. And here we go. Here is another book. I have the series information right here. So this would actually work for me. Maybe I'll come back to that. Okay, this one I know I've read, but at least I can see all the formats. And then what I get down here is this Discover More bar again. Now, the only thing related to Julia Quinn that the library has other than all of the titles is this event. So you really see this event highlighted right here. If I click on it, it will take me directly to that event within their event platform. Now with Aspen, you have 2 choices. Aspen can pull in all of that event information and display it right within Aspen if you don't want to send users out. If you do want to send users out as they chose to here, probably because this one also requires registration, you can change that in the settings. So again, you can leave the user in Aspen for a little bit longer, or you can choose to send them straight out to your event platform, whatever works best for you. All right, so that's all that we have for Remy. Just seeing a really quick, she's looking for a book and then she discovers that, hey, that author is actually coming to the library. What an amazing marketing chance experience to make sure that, that a patron that is interested in this author knows they're coming to the library. Finally, we're going to use our model site to show you what Anthony, remember the marketing manager, I think Julia Quinn must be on some kind of tour because she's also coming to the main library. So let's look at what Anthony decided to do. So the first thing that he did was he built a browse category. This that we see on the homepage are called our browse categories. The normal homepage for Aspen, the kind of standard one are these browse categories. We do have a web builder that lets you make this whatever you want. If you want that big flashy hero image as soon as folks come to Aspen, you can do that. You can add some additional book lists and things like that. But I just wanted to give you the pretty standard, what's easy to do, easy and quick to set up. And so this is a browse category. What's in this first browse category? Julia Quinn visits the library. We have a list that includes most of the titles that the library owns. But before that, we also have a list of lists. So Anthony went in and he created a list of the Bridgerton series and said, okay, you can click on that, the Bevelstoke series, as well as the Smythe-Smith Quartet. So immediately those, you just kind of get a little bit more marketing with other ways to organize those books. But with the event integration, you can also add events to this list. So we have 2 events happening at the library. The first one is the Bridgerton Trivia Night for Books and Beer. I'm going to go ahead and open that one up in a new tab so we can take a look at it. Now here you can see what an event looks like within Aspen. You can see that all the image is actually pulled in directly from the event platform. All of the metadata is pulled in from the event platform, the description, the time. If we wanted more info, we could click on that there to go get more info outside in that event platform. But if you don't want to send users to that event platform, you don't have to do that. Let's go ahead and look at the second one. This one is the actual Julia Quinn visits the library, and that's happening tomorrow. Okay, so again, same information, pulling in the image from the website. But we do have, this one's already saved for me. So I have that go to your events button instead of add to your events, but we can also click on registration information and we get all of that information here. Okay, so let's say that, go back home so we can see that again. So again, I didn't search anything. If I'm a Julia Quinn fan, I have this all front and center right away. Super big author visiting the library and lots of ways to promote it. You could also do things like the placards that we did for Storytime. That would be another great way. But let's say we don't have a browse category or I just don't happen to see it. And I do that same search that Remy did. And I just search for Julia Quinn. Okay, I'm going to see the same thing that we did in Cuyahoga. I'm going to get 2 titles by that author, but then I'm going to get both events. So I can get into a list of those events, and then I'm searching events, but in a minute, there we go. We'll go ahead and get this explore more. It's easy then to get into the lists. Remember, I made those 4 lists, and I'm just browsing around the catalog, going between events and lists and titles, all the things that the author is, or that the library is offering around Julia Quinn right now. So I have those 4 lists, and I have the events again. I can even go back to catalog results from here. So now we're back where we started with those catalog events and the explore more bar right there. So that's a really quick overview of how patrons might encounter events within the catalog, different ways you can promote events within the catalog as well. I'm going to go back to my slide deck and I want to show you another thing that one of our libraries did. Just like I showed you with the Julia Quinn list, with the books and the lists and the events, this is something that the Maine Library Alliance put together a few years ago with lists of lists to also promote an event. So the event is the Morristown Festival of Books. And what they decided to do was create a list for each author. So if you clicked on each one of those, you would go to a list with all of that author's titles. And then they did a custom cover, because you can do custom covers for these lists to promote each author. So it's easy to see from this front page. So you don't just have one author coming, you have all of these authors coming. And if you're interested in reading some of their titles or learning more about them, you could click into this list. Also within this list, we're getting complicated, but because you can add events to lists, you could do the same thing that I did with that main library, the other main library, where you have the event first and then all of the titles by the author. So there's really just so many different ways that you can organize this content, promote this content within Aspen Discovery. All right, I'm going to go ahead and see if we have any questions from our attendees.
So we have one comment, one question. So the comment was, in the future, might images that are on events calendar site show on the search page for events? right now it only shows the month and the day in the text.
That's something we are sort of considering. The issue that we have um, with what you saw in those browse categories, you can see the title of the event, but with our collection spotlights, you can't see the title. So we haven't done this yet because we recognize that folks are going to start to put together those carousels, and that with that carousel, you're just going to get the image and there's no context about the event. I think there's some ways that we could solve that. I think we could do like an overlay that had the title or things like that. We just haven't done it yet because the date and the title seem to be most important when you have that book or that event not within the context that has the title. But we can talk about it. Like there's definitely things we could probably do, but that's why we haven't done it yet.
All right, so we have a few more. I'd like to see a library market example when you get a chance, but also which library had the list for individual authors that were attending a festival. My library does a large book festival each year, and I think this would be good for our site. That was Maine, wasn't it?
That was Maine. Yeah. If you're in our Aspen Slack, Mike Grigura from Maine would love to answer questions for you. Also within our help center, it explains exactly how to do this. Go to our help center, help.aspendiscovery.com. And if you search for list of lists, you should be able to, you'll be able to find the instructions for how to create this list of lists. And I believe there was a request
Yeah,
for
if
it
you could
was
show a library market site.
yeah, I am pulling one up right now. Let's get out of here. Okay, so I am pulling over, hopefully. Oh, I don't know that I've done this in there we go. Okay, this is the Uinta County Library. Let's go ahead and search. Well, let's just search story time. I'm sure story time is a pretty safe one. Okay. And you can see their next story times right down here. They have a big archive. So I'm just out of curiosity. I kind of want to open this one just to see it because that's the problem, right? Like it's doing to me exactly what we want it to, which is get you interested in all of these things. They have an archive, and this must be like kindergarten enjoy story time. But you can see the functionality is the same. Here's the next story times. You can click into events. That linked directly to this image within a digital archive. So if you want to see historic images of people enjoying story time. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, so this is a library calendar from Library Market Example. Cuyahoga actually was that one was a 10 from Communico. So you can see it doesn't really matter.
And the East Central was LibCal.
That was LibCal, yeah, and LibCal was also the last one that I did. Assabet's
Well,
brand new. I haven't played around with it, but the functionality is all the same.
since we're on this page, it looks like facets change based off calendar. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're pulling in those places directly from whatever your event platform is. So whatever facets you have there, you will have here. You can also, sometimes we've noticed that in some of the platforms, the names of the locations are not exactly the same. So if that is your case, you do have the opportunity to kind of rename to make sure everything matches across all platforms. But other than that, how you set this up, it really is just an API key and a secret that you get from that vendor. You plug it in here, and then you just say what libraries you want it to apply to. And then Aspen just starts indexing and it pulls all of this in for you.
And how does calendar integration work with a consortia? Do they all have to be on the same?
They do not. No. You can actually set up, you can have different platforms. So you can set up multiple for the same platform, and that's almost never going to happen. But basically, you set up the event calendar and the event integration, you just say which it applies to. Then you go on to the next library. They can have the same platform or a different platform. So you can have some on SpringShare, some on Communico, and just say where where Aspen should pull the events from. And it's super easy that way to set it up for different library systems within the same consortium.
So that's the only questions I see so far. We can wait and see if there's others.
I kind of want to just keep searching you into.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions. Does anyone have any they want to type in? And I think Maine would be one of the ones that example that they have multiple calendars with different vendors.
Yeah.
That's I'm not seeing any, Jordan.
All right. Then I think we're good. Thank you so much for your time today. Oh, sorry. I have a little bit more for you.
All right, so there's one more that asks, do we have any plans to add Eventbrite?
What we look for in adding new events is a couple different libraries that come to us and just say, this is what we want to add next. Then what we do is we go to that event platform and see if they have a way for us to pull it in. So most of the integrations you saw today were with APIs. The library calendar from Library Market, we were able to do with an RSS feed. So it does require a little bit of something on their side, some kind of technology to let us pull it in. But what we look for first is number of our partners that have that event integration and are asking us for it. And then also, are we able to bring that event platform in? So if you're already a Bywater partner and you're interested in a specific event platform, you can go ahead and put in a ticket with us requesting that. That is how we start to track those requests for integrations is through, hey, I'd like to see this at a ticket. And then prioritizing them frequently happens at our community meetings. All right. Nothing else, Bill, or we can go ahead and have a few more things to say.
We have another one that comes
Okay.
in. Could you add multiple family members in their library cards are linked, if their library cards are linked?
Yes. So linked accounts is separate from events. You are not saving different events for different people because it's not saving attached to that library card within the ILS. It's saving attached to you, the person that's logged in. But you can have linked ILS accounts. So if you are an adult who's responsible for either another adult or a child, you can link those accounts and then see all of the titles that are on hold or checked out for each of those. But within the event integration, you're really just saving events to your account. Anything else, Bill?
Nothing yet.
Well, while we're waiting to see if there's any last questions, I'll go ahead and plug our next Aspen Discovery webinar in the Power and Partnership series. You saw that archival example from Uinta, so that's going to be an example of that. We all will, excuse me, Jesse Zara will be talking about archives, databases, genealogy, and more, and that is on August 28th. If you're curious to learn more about Aspen, we have sales@bywatersolutions.com. That'll get you to Bill. Any other questions, Bill, before we say thank you and goodbye?